1999, 2011, 2015, 2023. 4 years, 4 matches. 4 moments in cricketing history where time stood still, and 2 nations were either heartbroken or born anew. This is not the rivalry you read about in newspapers. It's not the one debated endlessly on social media. This is New Zealand versus South Africa, a rivalry fueled not by hatred or history, but by psychological trauma, quiet revenge, and the weight of failure. It's cricket's most dangerous mental battle, and the world barely talks about it. When cricket fans hear the word rivalry, a few obvious names dominate the conversation. India versus Pakistan, a rivalry built on borders, politics, and passion. England versus Australia, a legacy forged over centuries of Test cricket through the ashes. But hidden in the shadows of these mainstream spectacles lies a quieter war. One that's played out not with aggression, but with immense mental pressure and repeated heartbreak. This is the story of South Africa and New Zealand. 2 sides who have collided time and again in the game's biggest tournaments. And each time, the outcome has left behind scars that never fully heal. Let's go back to 1999, the Cricket World Cup, semi-final, Edgbaston. South Africa needed just 1 run to win against Australia, with 4 balls left. Lance Klusener was at the peak of his powers, having single-handedly carried the Proteas through the tournament. On the other end stood Alan Donald, not known for his batting, but all he had to do was run. Klusener smashed the ball. He ran immediately, but Donald didn't. He froze, dropped his bat, looked confused. Run out, match tied. But by tournament rules, Australia advanced. That one moment, a split second of hesitation, cost South Africa a place in the final, and it gave birth to a phrase that would haunt their cricketing identity forever: the chokers. And while Australia celebrated, it was New Zealand who watched quietly, knowing one day they might weaponize this mental scar. 12 years later, 2011, Mirpur, Bangladesh, World Cup quarter-final. South Africa once again entered as strong contenders. Their squad was deep, talented, and experienced. New Zealand, they were underestimated, unseeded, lacking the firepower on paper. But they had one thing South Africa didn't: composure. Batting first, the Kiwis posted a modest 221. Easy chase? Most thought so. At 108 halves, the chase looked effortless, but then, in the space of just a few overs, something broke. Pressure crept in, panic followed, wickets fell like dominoes, from 108 halves to 172 all out. What New Zealand did that day wasn't just win a match. They exposed the soft underbelly of South African cricket, the inability to cope with pressure when it mattered most. Now comes 2015, the semi-final in Auckland, a match that would etch itself into the hearts of millions, for better or worse. South Africa batted first, posting a strong total of 281. Rain interrupted play, and the target was adjusted to 298 under DLS. The chase was thrilling, the tension unbearable. Grant Elliott, not a superstar, not even a regular in the Wadtuan, stood tall, 5 needed off 2. Dale Steyn, the fastest, most feared bowler in the world, runs in. He bowls a good-length delivery, and Elliott lifts it. The ball soars into the stands. New Zealand wins, and for South Africa, it's not just a loss. A.B. de Villiers sinks to his knees. Morn Morkel cries uncontrollably. The entire squad breaks down. They weren't just knocked out of the World Cup, they were emotionally, mentally shattered. That match wasn't just a semi-final, it was the end of an era, a golden generation of players left with nothing but pain. In 2019, the teams met again, this time in a group stage clash. New Zealand chased a low target with ease, another win, another reminder of the dominance. But it was in 2023 that South Africa finally struck back. At the World Cup, they didn't just beat New Zealand, they crushed them. 357 quarters with centuries from de Kock and Klaasen, then bundled the Kiwis out for just 167, a win by 190 runs, one of their biggest ever in tournament history. Was this finally closure? Maybe, but in the grand scheme, it was still just a group stage game. The ghosts of 1999, 2011, and 2015 still lurk in the shadows. For South Africa to truly move on, they'll need to win the war, when it counts most, in the knockouts. What separates this rivalry from others is its psychological nature. It's not about fan aggression or media frenzy. It's about two teams that reflect each other's deepest fears and strongest strengths. South Africa, brilliant on paper but often overwhelmed by pressure. New Zealand, quiet, underestimated but mentally rock solid when it matters. Every match is a test of nerve, not just skill. The chokers versus the giant killers. One team trying to rewrite its destiny. The other embracing its underdog role with surgical precision. And perhaps what makes this rivalry so compelling is that it was never designed to be one. It became one because of how cruelly their stories kept intertwining again and again at the very edge of glory and collapse. The next time you watch a big World Cup match and the cameras focus on India or England, or the broadcasters hype up Australia and Pakistan, remember there's another battle that's been simmering in silence. A battle of mental strength, emotional pain, and unspoken revenge. South Africa versus New Zealand. A rivalry not written in words, but in wounds. A story that isn't over yet.